please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Midcap Radar. The market seems a bit rained out, doesn't it? 28 points lower on the Nifty. No significant, up move or down move, and it's been that way since we started trade at 9:15 this morning. Small and ranged kind of day. Basically, the same kind that we had towards the close of last week, the last few days of the previous week, that is. 10,795 is where we stand. We'll, of course, look at what stocks are doing, sectors are doing. Europe has been trading for an hour now, so we'll cast a glance towards those markets as well. With me is my colleague Ekta Batra. Ekta, hi, afternoon.
Hi, Prashant. Yes, absolutely. So for the Nifty, we're down around 0.2%. We have the Midcap index, which is absolutely flat at this point in time. But it is really about specific stocks today and the kind of moves that we're seeing. So Tata Motors at the low point of the day, down 4.6%. BPCL, HPCL down 3%. ICICI Bank at the low point of the day, down around 3%. And just look at the dichotomy. Bajaj Finance, which is at a record high, so up around 2.2% for Bajaj Finance, and Infosys also, which is gaining, so that stock too up around 2%. But let's take you through all of the top stories that we're tracking, and then we'll get discussing down to specific stocks as well. First up, markets trade near the day's low, weighed down by the weakness in the ICICI Bank stock. Infosys fights for the bulls. Midcap index fares better.
ICICI Bank remains the big casualty today. The stock is under pressure despite management clarification on whistleblower allegations. Of course, the issue is with regards to financial statements.
And
oil prices.
Oil prices reverse gains following a modest output increase by OPEC. Oil marketing companies dragged post this disappointing outcome. The rupee weakens.
Tata Motors loses ground in cautious demand commentary from Jaguar Land Rover and the expectation that cash flow could remain under pressure in the near term. The Idea stock cracks and reports that Idea Vodafone merger is delayed beyond its target of executing it in the first half of 2018.
And in Turkey, Turkey's long-standing leader, Erdogan, has won a new 5-year term after securing outright victory in the first round of a presidential poll. So that is what is happening globally.
All right, that's essentially the top headlines. We'll spend some time on each of those in a bit from now. But back to the market, as always, on the top of the show. Sandeep Wagle is our guest who's going to run us through some trades and his thoughts on the market. Sandeep, good afternoon. Thank you for your time. What would you say the market does? We're sitting at 10,800 right now.
Afternoon, Prashant. I think very listless in a band of 50-70 points. You said it right, 10,780. I don't see it breaking. I don't see breaking 10,850. Talk of the day for the day. So yes, very listless and stock specific. Individual moves are coming in.
Okay. So what are these stock specific calls that you'd be recommending today?
I would recommend a buy in a TVS Motors, stop loss of 593, target of 603, and a sell in a Motherson Sumi, stop loss of 297, target of 285.
Okay, all right.
Any buys, Sandeep? Anything looking like it could set up as a buy?
TVS Motors is looking good to me as a buy. And as a sell, I would talk of a Motherson Sumi.
Okay.
And I think Nifty is at a support level. So if you ask me what to do with the Nifty or the Bank Nifty, I would look for an upside trade.
Okay.
Just a quick word on Idea, Sandeep, if you will, at about 56 odd rupees or so.
Prashant, we had a sell in the morning on Awaaz, and I maintain that I had talked of a target of somewhere around 53 to 54. I think by tomorrow that should come in. Won't be surprised if that comes in today also.
Okay, I just had a quick chart check on these two stocks, Bajaj Finance and Bajaj Finserv, going from strength to strength for both these stocks. Sandeep, what are the kind of medium-term targets that you would have, or even short-term? And what would you recommend on them? Sandeep, is my voice reaching you? Okay, I think We've lost that line. But any which way, it is really a tale of two cities when it comes to the kind of dichotomy that we're seeing within the financial space. So Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv, Kotak, Yes Bank, mostly all these private banks which are actually gaining, and a couple of these stocks such as State Bank of India, ICICI Bank, obviously for news of its own, seem to be declining, along with something like an Axis Bank down and out in today's trade. HDFC from the NBFC space is also seeing profit booking down around 0.6%. But let's stick with the financials. ICICI Bank, as we have mentioned, is under pressure today. This is despite management clarifications on whistleblower allegations of issues in financial statements. Sonal Sachdev joins in to give us all of the news as well as the details with regards to this. Sonal.
The litany of woes continues. ICICI Bank has seen this, several reports of irregularities coming out. Whistleblower, like you said, several whistleblower complaints. The latest relates to a complaint received anonymously at the end of March relating to, 31 accounts where it was claimed that, there was irregular reporting and not, adequate provisioning being done. In response to which the bank indicated that while there was a delay, they had accounted for these accounts by the end of December last year, and implying that the books presently are in order. However, there's also a complaint lodged about delays in filings with the SEC, which is again a serious sort of matter. So this is basically keeping the stock weighed down. You think, things are over, things are getting sorted, you have a new COO that's been appointed, but, it keeps coming back.
Okay, ICICI Bank is down. PNB Housing, though, Sonal, is higher, right? I mean, 10% plus gains. There are reports that, well, it may be an acquisition candidate. I mean, tell us more.
As far as PNB Housing Finance is concerned, there were reports which we have not verified, which indicated that two leading players, HDFC and that's HDFC Limited and Kotak Mahindra Bank, were eyeing a strategic sort of sale in the lender. It is known that Punjab National Bank and Carlyle, the private equity investor, are looking to sort of cash out of PNB Housing Finance, but we have heard from HDFC. They have indicated that they have not expressed any interest in acquiring PNB Housing Finance. So it's not clear how far or how true this report is, but that's really positive, because if any of these players are looking at PNB Housing Finance, it would mean the lender moving to stronger hands.
Okay, all right, Sonal, thanks very much for that. So that's on PNB Housing. In fact, the stock at the high point of the day up around 12% Just want to point out what Fortis might be doing. So maybe that stock should come up for you. Remember that there is that board meet which is taking place for its Q4 numbers as well as its FY18 numbers. The stock is higher ahead of that. So let's see what that will entail, and the Luthra report which will come out today. In fact, it's been flitting between red and green for most of the day. It started off strong and now it's down around 1.4%, so given up all of its gains. So it'll be quite an important piece of news to track for Fortis Healthcare. But the other stock in focus is KRBL, which has extended losses. This is as the Enforcement Directorate has revived the Augusta Westland helicopter scam, and a former independent director of the company has been linked to this. So we spoke to Anup Gupta, the joint MD of KRBL, to seek a clarification. Let's listen in to what he had to say.
Mr. Gautam Khaitan was the independent director in KRBL Limited from 2007 to 2013. And Mr. Gautam Khaitan was arrested for the Augusta Westland deal, and they called me also ED, since he was an independent director in my company, what type of transactions was happened with Gautam Khaitan. And we have given all the accounts, all the statement of accounts and everything. And KRBL is no way concerned in Augusta Westland deal. Some fees of 50 lakh, 80 lakhs of legal fees company must have paid in. That's all.
Okay, that's the KRBL management clarifying the matter 2 hours earlier. We take a very quick break here. Up next, we speak with a company which actually was being, fancied as one of the high flyers. I think, especially late in 2017. But from the highs, life highs, the stock is down about 50% or so. We're speaking to the management at Vikas Ecotech. Vikas Garg, managing director of the company, is with us in just a bit to talk about that. Back in 2. Okay, welcome back. The market's right there. There is no great change. Vikas Ecotech is the company we are speaking to next. I mean, the stock is at about 24-25 rupees. The high was close to about 50 rupees. So it's a long way off from the highs. So there have been two things which have happened with Vikas Ecotech. One was the fact that mid-caps, of course, suffered quite a bit. Mid-caps and small caps had a pretty bad, rough start to 2018. Vikas Ecotech, I guess, got hit because of that. But secondly, the numbers for the fourth quarter from Vikas Ecotech came in as a loss, and that was a bit of a shock for many. We have Vikas Garg, managing director of the company, now joining in on the phone line. By the way, the company is also doing expansion, and we'll talk about that a little later. Vikas, can you just tell us whether those troubles from Q4 are behind and you're on track in Q1 to report a profit, and what kind?
Yeah, good afternoon, Prashant. This is Vikas. With respect to Q4, we are very much behind the Q4 results, and we are very much on track, and we are hopeful that in this quarter we will be able to complete at least 85 to 90% of our original projection.
Which was what, Vikas?
Means the normal growth course, it is very much now online with that.
Okay. So you will post a profit. I mean, I think you said that you will achieve sales of 80 to 90 crores, right? I mean, top line in Q1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And consequent to that, you will report a profit in line with what you have been doing.
Absolutely.
Okay. So there was I think 1 month of production lost, right, in Q4. That was the big reason. Why?
Around 1.5 months.
Okay. And those issues are now completely behind.
Absolutely. We are very much on track, and everything is getting normal.
One other thing which got highlighted quite a bit while the stock was correcting was the fact that your receivables are a problem, have been a problem. Debtor days, for example, right? They're very stretched. Has there been any progress in the positive direction on that front?
See, in last 2 years, there have been some issues due to which the receivables got stretched. Let's say demonetization, then there was an unfortunate incident of fire in our factory, then there's GST and Q4 due to non-supply of our raw materials to our customers. But we are working on that, and we are hopeful that by September, it should come to absolutely normal terms.
Okay. Well, Vikas, just hold that thought. We should actually just check what's happening with the Dow futures. In fact, it's showing a cut of around 150 points at this point in time. So it's down around 0.5%. So it is important to track eventually how exactly these markets would open up. But currently, it's indicating that it could be a weak start. Remember, it is the trade fears or the trade war fears which seems to be dominating more, considering that there were no real big surprises which came out from the OPEC. But Vikas, just wanted your thoughts on this particular 2 EHTG plant that you might be setting up.
See, it's a basic raw material which is required for manufacturing of organotin stabilizers. And due to some environmental reasons, there were some issues with Chinese companies, which accounts for around 80% of world production.
Okay, so currently
there were few plants which were closed down by their government.
So currently
the availability and the prices become concerned, and we thought of getting something in our company so that at least supplyability is not an issue in future.
Okay, so can you just give us how lucrative would this particular chemical be? I mean, what kind of supplies would you probably see in terms of the global demand at this point in time? And will the Chinese players not sort out their environmental issues and then come back into the market by the time you set up this plant?
See, even otherwise, there are good amount of profits in this business. But what we feel that over last 10 years, Chinese government is quite strict on environmental issues, and they are not budging even an iota of relaxing the policies.
So how much?
We have been approached by a few Chinese companies also who have shown interest in joint venture or some kind of understanding for supply of this EHTG and as well as organotin stabilizers.
So when will this plant come on stream if it hasn't already, and what is the potential in terms of finances from this? How much money can you make from it?
It is going to take around 12 months time for completing and putting it in commercial stage, and total investment outlay except working capital should be something like 30 to 35 crores.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, what is this EHTG? I mean, is this what exactly is it used for, Vikas?
It's a kind of solvent cum co-stabilizer which is used essentially in the production of organotin stabilizer. Around 80% volume of organotin stabilizers come from this product.
Right.
There are few in America, one in Germany and few in China. That's it.
Right. So, and why is this being shut down in China? Because of, I mean, this is
issues.
Yeah, but I thought you have an opportunity with some of the greener compounds that you're making, right?
Yeah.
So this EHTG is used in making those green compounds. So how is that polluting?
No, see, product what we are making is a food grade product, organotin stabilizer, which is substitute of toxic and chrysogenic
lead, etc. Yes.
Lead.
Yeah.
And this product, manufacturing of this product is slightly polluting, but the product itself is not toxic.
Okay, but you don't expect any troubles here. I mean, for example, the NGT came down on the lead and pipe issue, so there is no issue here.
Yeah, it should not be there. And secondly, it's a multi-stage product, so we are working on completing all the stages, so we don't foresee any problem in this.
Sorry, did you say what was the market potential for this? I mean, this
market potential, if you talk of India, it's besides us, there are only 2 or 3 consumers, but there is a huge export potential also.
Okay, and who else manufactures this globally besides y'all who are getting into the market and the Chinese players who don't anymore?
See, globally there are 2 in USA, namely Galata Chemicals and PMC, and 1 in Germany, namely Bruno Chemicals, and there are few in China.
Okay.
Yunanten is there and Hubei is there. There are few companies there also. To substitute lead in PVC pipes, right? I mean, as the plan is, and you've over the last many occasions, whenever you've come on, you've talked about that opportunity. Yeah.
If that opportunity is really that large, most of this you will use internally to produce.
We are already producing organotin stabilizers for which we are importing this chemical from China.
So you will just substitute it.
Yes. Then we will be manufacturing around 70-80% will go for captive consumption. Rest we will try to sell globally as well as domestically.
What is the status of that NGT? I mean, there was a 6-month phase out, right? Which was.
I think it is going to get over by end of July.
Okay.
Until now, what we have heard is that it is going as per the ministry given by ministry, schedule given by the ministry to the NGT. It is absolutely given as per that schedule.
Okay, all right, Vikas, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much. Appreciate you shedding some light on the business and some numbers as well. So, essentially, the numbers should be back on track starting Q1. Q4 was problematic because they lost production for about a month and a half or so, but things are back, and the opportunity, of course, remains intact. Essentially, they make a compound which is used instead of lead and PVC pipes as a stabilizer, and the government essentially had asked over a period of 6 months, which he said comes to an end in July, for lead not to be used, and it actually specified some standards for use of lead in smaller quantities in PVC pipes. That opens up an opportunity for the compound that Vikas Ecotech makes. That was the big talking point and why people had bid up the stock quite a bit in 2017. And now this is where we are at. We take a very quick break here. We come back in just a bit. We'll focus on the market, which is right there, 17, 18 points down. 10,805 is where we are at right now. We're back. We are taking a quick break. See you on the other side.
अब मैं देखूं साफ बारिश के बाद जीत का विश्वास।
श्री राम ट्रांसपोर्ट फाइनेंस, जैसी आपकी जरूरतें वैसी हमारी फाइनेंस सेवाएं।
मंजिल मिली है जिसकी थी तलाश, जीत का विश्वास हर दिन साथ।
श्री राम ट्रांसपोर्ट फाइनेंस, विश्वास जीत का।
बीमारियां पता पूछकर नहीं आती, तकलीफ कहीं भी पहुंच सकती है। मुसीबतें अमीरी गरीबी में भेदभाव नहीं करती, लेकिन कोई है जिसको सबकी चीखें बराबर सुनाई देती है। मैनकाइंड फार्मा। ये हमेशा यही कोशिश करते हैं कि किफायती लेकिन बेस्ट क्वालिटी मेडिसिन्स आप सब तक पहुंचे। शायद यही वजह है कि सिर्फ 22 सालों में मैनकाइंड फार्मा भारत के टॉप 5 फार्मा कंपनीज में से एक बन गया है। मैनकाइंड फार्मा, सर्विंग लाइफ।
Profit from the emerging trends in the derivatives market and hedge yourself against volatile markets as we give you an update on the derivatives space. Murugappa Group presents Futures Now. Throughout the day, only on CNBC TV18.
Presented by Murugappa. Together, let's progress.
जिसकी जैसी choice, सबकी मिलेगी choice. मकान या building office, सबकी मिलेगी choice. 1, 2, 3, 4 सारे BHK, bungalows, villas, flats, हटके. जिसकी जैसी choice, सबकी मिलेगी choice. Choice.
What does it take to have a lifelong relationship? With SMC, just one transaction gives you a lifetime relationship. SMC. Money wise, be wise.
Welcome back. Well, for the Bank Nifty, it seems to be pressured now. So it's down around 0.3% at this point. And like we've been pointing out, it's really a dichotomy that's taking place within the financial space. Bajaj Finance and Finserv at fresh highs. But that the same can't be said with regards to something like an ICICI Bank, which is at the low point of the day, down around 2.8%. But moving away from financials, it's even other heavyweights such as something like an ITC, which is down around 1.2%, and even something like a Titan, which is down around 1% Not too much coming in from the auto space either. So something like a Hero Moto as well as a Maruti, both those stocks are down and out at this point in time. But that's all the time that we have on Midcap Radar. Your stocks just after a short break. Stay tuned.